Hey Excel Geeks, welcome to Robot Workshop. Today we have Diarmuid with us.
Hello.
Obligatory drinking out of my teacup moment.
Oh, see, I've just got a plain glass. Now I feel I've come underprepared.
I don't really need to give you any introduction because if someone is watching this video, chances are they know exactly who you are. We're recording this today on the day that you found out that you've won the FMWC for this year. So,
Woo.
congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
Any plans to celebrate tonight, or is it going to be more training?
Well, I have had this realization that like between Thanksgiving and like kid stuff and work commitments, there's very little time left until Vegas. So I probably do have to try to get on with my training.
You were also in the same intake group as me for OA Robot beta testing, depending on which country you're coming from. Do you actually see yourself using this live?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I mean, there's there's a lot of it, and I would definitely only see myself using something that I felt totally comfortable with, which is right now only a pretty small proportion of what there is. I'm hoping to get that proportion up a little bit before Vegas, but like there will be tons I will not use because, the risk of using something that you're not really ready for is high. Like even just the kind of, Lambda writing and Lambda editing stuff, I find super useful.
Yeah.
I already use it a lot. So yeah, I definitely can see myself using that.
That sounds like sound advice, I think, for anyone that's competing to not really just jump in and use all of OA Robot without
That
explicitly
would be a tall order.
practicing over
Yep.
explicitly practice everything that you can use. Okay, great. So I think we're gonna hop over to the other screen. We're now live on your screen. You appear to be showing us Mortal Wombat, which was
Yes.
a round of 16
Is
case this year.
yes, 16 or 30. Yeah, 16. Yes, this is by Brian Wright, who I've not seen a case from before, but I mean it was scary, definitely hard, but it was a very fun case. So I thought we'd just take a level somewhere in the middle because it does get into pretty advanced stuff, which the Lambda building would help with, but let's keep this one shorter. Basic ideas, you've got a series of attacks. Um, and you're told like these are the attacks, this is the damage they do, this is what blocks it, but at this level you don't have to worry about blocks, you're just interested in damage and combos, and then you've got all these like hotkey combinations. So like if you do a PPK, which is whatever, punch punch kick in a row, then that's martial prowess and it does 3 extra damage. Actually, I think on this level you're only interested in universal combos. But anyway, I'll show you some of the setup that I do for the kind of move bit as well. I've done a little bit of kind of setting up here. Actually, I didn't need to do this one because this one doesn't involve blocks, but never mind. Here I've just removed the commas because it makes it a little easier to work with the sequence. But okay, let's get roboting. So
That's
first
great.
thing, I'm just gonna mark input cells for my starting cell. I'll just call that input. And then the first thing I'm going to do is split it up. Actually, I don't need mid because they're delimited, so I'll say text split of this, split into rows by a comma. So that's going to be my move. Sorry, I shrunk it too much. Then I can do my damage. Just look up that, and I gave these named ranges, but I'll go over here for the first time. So I've got my CD for code and my dam for damage. So that'll give me that. And then what I want is to figure out what is my, so the combinations are of either length 2 or length 3. So I want to figure out what my last 2 or 3 moves were to figure out if I've done any of these things. All right, so here what I want is to be able to say what are my previous 2 moves and previous 3 moves, because that's what I want to match against this command sequence. So I've got a lambda that I use for that, which is called prev, which just takes an array, uh, stuffs a certain number of x's or some other filler at the top of it. So here it's just inserted one x and then shoves everything else down and then drops off at the end. So, from this D, the previous character, the one above it, is T. It just means that I don't have to, have a formula pointing to the previous row and copy it down because then that doesn't grow well as a dynamic array. So this is going to be my previous two, which is going to be that and these moves. And then this is going to be my previous three, which is going to be that. Wait, which way around did I do this? So that should be rev this by two and this. So now, obviously, the x's aren't going to match against anything because there's no x move, which is fine. That's what I want. But so here, my first triple is PPK, then PKT, then KTK, then TKT, then KTT, and so on down. So then I'm interested in combo damage. Um, and so here's an interesting one, actually, because here I've got two separate arrays, which means my instinct is to say, well, I should, look up this one and then look up this one.
Mm.
But uh, but thanks to the robot dark magic, I think I can just say let's X look up both in my combo returning from combo dam, if not found 0. And then just do a by-row sum, and that'll give me my total damage from combos.
That's beautiful.
And then the beautiful thing about it is like this is not a dynamic reference,
Yeah.
but when we turn it into a lambda in a minute, it will say, hey, wait a minute, you're pointing to these two dynamic arrays. I'm going to treat that as H stack of these two dynamic arrays without me having to do that, which is just, I mean, it's going to encourage laziness, but in a positive way, I think. So anyway, that most of this stuff, like the damage and the moves and all that, is just kind of set up for later levels. But I think the exam question here is, what is the sum of the move numbers at which any universal combo is performed? So, move numbers, move nums, can just be sequence of, let's say, rows of this, just because that way it'll be dynamic. And then you can just say times this is greater than 0. And that will be sort of zeroed out here and here because there's no universal combo. Here, there's a combo ending on that move. Here, there's a combo ending on that move. So I get the turn number and so on down. Or actually, you know what? Let's be even a little more basic because part of the appeal of having the robot command is that I can just spread it out a little more. So
Yeah.
move nums with comms. And that can be this times this is greater than 0. And then I guess I'll just call it output can just be sum of that. And then with all this, we can now say, give me, and yeah, sorry, sense check. That
That's
does match the example. Hooray. Try paste lambda statement.
Look at that.
Okay, hooray. For these, I have like a named range combo and it gives it
Mm.
another named range from somewhere else. I can hit exclude now. All right, and there we have it. So this is the bit that I find particularly amazing is that it figured out that my non-dynamic reference was actually H stacking these two together.
That is
Um,
genius. I love that.
and yeah, and then the rest is pretty much just following like exactly what I did. It just saves me having to gather it all up into a formula. So I'm going to say okay to that. That looks good. And then I'm going to say save lambda, and I'll just call it level 3. Terrible documentation, but it's a competition. So, and now let's test it out. Moment of truth, level 3. Sweet.
Well done. Brilliant. I didn't know you could actually. Well, I mean, I knew you could exclude steps.
But you didn't
But
know you
until
could
you
do it like
actually.
that?
No. Well, I've just thought, well, why would I exclude a step? And I've just never really played around with it. So knowing that you can exclude something that's already pointing to a named range is really
Yeah,
useful.
I mean, I suspect in competition I will probably not use it because it's faster to
Just get
just be
on
like,
with
"Leave it all.
it. Yeah.
Let's go." But yeah, when I'm playing around, like writing my own lambdas, I like them to be clean,
Yeah.
and so I do always go through and like anything that is pointing to a named range, I kick it out. But yeah, it does that nicely.
Thank you for joining us today, Dim. Um,
Thank you
it's
for having me.
been a pleasure having you on your day of great victory. Um,
Woo!
so I hope you managed to get some celebration in before you're completely bogged down in training some more in the small amount of time we have left.
Well, I've got mostly kids for the afternoon, so they won't care that much about Excel, but they definitely won't want me distracted by training either. So,
That's fair.
actually, I say that my older son he'll be pretty happy about it. He was not happy when I stopped being number one, so he'll
Oh,
be
so
glad I'm
you can say
back.
I'm number one again, and then
Yep. I mean, I don't think he'll say like great or anything, but he'll say this is now acceptable again.
yeah. One last question: do you think you're going to be the one who brings the combo together this year? Then
No.
have
I mean,
some
I'd love
faith.
to. I'd love to. And, I think I've got about as good a chance as anyone whose name isn't Andrew Nye. But I also think history is against me on this, but I still maintain that in this format it is very hard, like for even the best person to come out on top. Obviously, Andrew's record completely makes a mockery of that statement because he does it over and over and over again. But I still think that more likely than either him winning or me winning is neither of us winning.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Well, I will see you in Vegas. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Cheers,
Thanks
then.
for having me. Bye bye.